This 6'6" guard build with a 99 driving layup and a 94 three-pointer is absolutely insane on NBA 2K24. But with that being said, today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this build, and I gotta say, this is definitely one of the funnest builds I have used all year. So if you're looking for something new to spice up the 2K cycle, or you're just trying to play on a different type of build, I highly recommend this one. But with all of that out of the way, man, let's get started with today's video. Let's go. All right, so for this build, you're going to be making it at either a point guard or shooting guard. Height's going to be 6'6", weight's going to be 180 pounds with a 6'6" wingspan. And starting things off in the finishing, we're going to have a 99 driving layup on this build, which is going to get you a lot of finishing badges, practically all of them. When it comes to your layups, you're going to get Whistle Hall of Fame, Float Game, Two-Step, Spin Cycle, Scooper, Fearless Finisher, Slithery, all are going to be on Hall of Fame on this build, which makes that 99 layup even more insane. But now let's take a look at the finishing highlights on this build. And listen, this is a little bit of a spoiler for stuff that's going to be coming out later in the next couple of weeks. I'm definitely going to drop another video on this build, just a power of a 99 layup build with all the badges on Hall of Fame. It's going to be like a gameplay video, so that'll be coming out soon. So make sure you guys have the noties turned on so you can get that ASAP. But now let's get back to the actual finishing highlights on this build, man. Listen, you're going to be able to make every single layup you take as long as it does not get blocked. Opens, yellows, even reds, they go in at a very consistent rate. And I think once you also master the layup timing, it becomes even better to use. I was kind of rotating between a bunch of different layup styles, and my top three for sure on this build are LeBron James, James Harden, and Luka Doncic. They have their pros, they have their cons, but I think my personal favorite is James Harden because of the scoops, the Europes, and the floaters. They're all really good out of that package, and those are the moves that I definitely go to the most. I'm not that type of guy that really uses the spin layups a whole lot, but I definitely should start using them more, especially when it comes to foul drawing and pump faking and all that, and making people jump and making people, you know, look stupid. Now, to kind of quickly answer the question as to whether or not 99 driving layup is worth it, well, there's two ways I can look at it. One, it's whether or not it's worth it in comparison to previous years, and yes, it absolutely is. And then in comparison to like this year's game, I'd say it's one of the better 99 attribute ratings in this year's game, and I definitely do think it's considerably better than a 91 driving layup. So I do recommend that you guys give it a try if you guys have a little bit of VC lined up to make a new build. But yeah, that's enough finishing, and now let's move on to the shooting. All right, so now for the shooting, we're going to have a 94 three-point shot on this build, which is going to get you Agent 3s on gold, which is a very nice badge to have in this year's game. We're trying to hit shots off the dribble out at the three-point line, and then you're also going to have things like Space Creator on Hall of Fame, Limitless Range on silver. You're definitely going to be an elite shooter out at the three-point line on this build. So when you compare that with having the 99 driving layup, you're going to be really hard to guard because your drives are unstoppable, so they're going to have to give you more space at the three. But if you start hitting the three consistently, they're going to have to play you higher, which is going to make your drives more available. Then to top it all off, you still have an 84 mid-range shot on this build, which gets you Midi Magician on gold, so you can still definitely hit some shots off the dribble in the mid-range area if you want to as well. All right, so now let's move on to the shooting highlights. So listen, man, you're going to be an insane shooter on this build, especially if you start using that sharpshooting takeover. It is by far the best takeover in the game. It allows you to hit such insane shots and shoot from super deep, just like this shot right here, and that is going in without any issue. And again, with how the shooting and how the layup was on this build, I felt like I was playing almost like a 2018 like Houston Rockets James Harden on this build. Although I did not have the driving dunk, I was definitely able to get into my step back game as well as the Euro steps as well on this build. Now I need y'all to cut me some slack a little bit with some of these dribbling clips, okay? Because I just got back from a week-long vacation, so my thumbs are a little rusty. I honestly did not realize how hard it is to play this game after you've not played it for a week, because I don't think I've gone that long without playing it, because obviously for content reasons since the start of the game this year. But enough about me, man. Let's get back to the build, and I'll take a look at this right here. We're gonna hit him with the Jamal Murray behind the back drive, hit him with the Sham God into the nutmeg, into the Lucas step back. Where did he go? That's a wide open three. I actually learned how to do that move again on 2K24. If you guys remember, I was doing that move a lot on 23, so now we're doing it on 24 again. I'm trying to get in my dribble bag a little bit, because I feel like a lot of the builds that I'm going to be dropping over the next couple of weeks or so are going to be a lot shorter players, 6'6" to 6'9" type of players. I don't think I'm going to be dropping any small guard builds just yet. Might do an Anthony Edwards build, but hold on. Oh my goodness, Krabby Pat. Me shooting crabs? Who is this? I know I took a week off, but I'm shooting crabs. I'm doing sham gods. And like, who am I? I'm supposed to be an old head. Like, what's going on here? I know there are definitely people out there who think I'm like 30 years old based off of how I play, but I'm actually only 24, so you know, I guess I gotta freshen up the playstyle just a wee bit. But again, back to the build. It is a very freaking good build on offense. You're gonna be able to hit shots out at the 3-point line at such a good rate. And speaking of shots, here was the jump shot I was using on this build. Base is gonna be Tracy McGrady. If you didn't think it was gonna be T-Mac, I mean, you're absolutely insane. But the upper releases are pure Tari Issa. Now, this is the fastest upper release you could use on swing builds, and based off of 2K Toots' testing, it is the hardest to contest. So when you add Tracy McGrady, which is a uncontestable jump shot, with Tari Issa releases, which according to testing is uncontestable, you got an uncontestable jumper, and this is definitely one of the best jumpers I've used. All right, so now moving on to the playmaking, we're going with a 77 pass accuracy, which gets you relay passer on silver as well as needle threader on bronze, and then you're also going to get a 92 ball handle as well as an 83 speed with ball, which gets you gold speed booster, handles for days, blow by. You're basically going to get all the major playmaking badges when it comes to your dribbling on gold. But now let's take a look at some of the passing highlights on this build, and listen, you're going to be able to pass the ball pretty well on this build with the 77 pass accuracy. It actually feels very nice in 5v5 modes, even when you're playing as the primary playmaker. When you're playing as the point guard, 77 pass accuracy really does not feel that bad. Now, I would generally recommend an 87 for pass accuracy if you're trying to play point guard, or even 89 to get Tyrese Halliburton pass style. But if you're playing as a score dominant point guard or as a scoring 2 guard, this build is not that bad at all in the playmaking department. You know, overall, I think a 77 pass accuracy is perfectly fine for a guard, especially in 5v5 modes, as long as you're not playing anything super competitive. If you're playing competitive 5, sure, you need at least an 89 pass accuracy so you can get that Halliburton like I mentioned earlier. And then here are all of the animations I was using on this build. Like I mentioned again earlier, for the layup style, you can also use Luka Doncic or LeBron James if you want to, but I think my preferred layup style is now going to be James Harden. All right, so now I'm moving on to the defense, which is the final thing on this build. And as you can see, this build is definitely an offensive oriented build, but you do have a little bit of defense on this build to make your life a little bit easier. You're going to have a 55 interior defense, a 56 perimeter defense, and a 68 block, so you can at least get chase down artist on bronze, and you can get some block and some stops in the paint on this build. Now, out on the perimeter, you might get destroyed a little bit, just a little bit, but this is an offensive heavy build. And again, this is a fun build. It's not necessarily a competitive build, and if you want to make it, you can, but you don't have to. But now here is the build fully maxed out. Just a couple other important things. Make sure you get at least an 86 speed for gold speed booster and an 84 acceleration to get gold blow by, as well as gold slippery off ball. Make sure you have the strength to at least a 67 so you can get fearless finisher on Hall of Fame, and the vert to a 60 to get chase down artist on bronze. Realistically, with the physicals, you cannot drop anything unless you want to drop the stamina to a 96, but you cannot go lower than that, or else you will lose gold handles for days. All right, so now the build is complete, and when coming out of the My Player Builder, you're going to get the player comparisons of Steve Nash, CJ McCollum, and D'Angelo Russell, and you're going to get the build name Floor Spacing Slasher, which I think is a very cool name to have. It's kind of catfish, because usually when I see the name Floor Spacing Slasher, I assume the person also has high driving dunk, but this one does not. But that's going to be it for today's video, man. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm out. Peace.